I get a lot of questions about how I managed to go from thousands of dollars in credit card debt, personal loan debt, just all sorts of consumer debt, to paying all of it off within just a few months to maybe a year at the most, and just how I overall keep my finances so organized that it no longer stresses me out. Let's dive into my money system that keeps me at least as stress-free as humanly possible, and that will help you also pay off your debt as fast as possible and achieve financial freedom if you do it step by step as well. So I will go ahead and drag myself down over here, and we will go over to this presentation that I made for you guys that, like I said, just breaks down my entire system. And first and foremost, before we get started, I can't stress enough that you are in control. You are the one that got yourself in this mess, and you are the one that's going to get yourself out. So first, let's go over, what I call just the current plan, what you've been doing. So the current plan, of course, is pretty straightforward. The money comes in, and what happens? The money goes out. Most people have like one checking account, maybe a savings account, and then probably a couple credit cards or so. And all the money is just kind of coming in, going out, coming in, going out, and there's no type of organization whatsoever. So what is the result of this? The result, of course, is a ton of stress, anxiety, just wondering what the hell is going on. And I should add too, this was me even, in early parts of my business journey, having to manage a personal budget and the business budget. It's hard enough just managing one budget, let alone trying to manage two, making sure the business is staying profitable, and at the same time making sure that, we're able to pay our bills, and that not only we can pay our personal bills, but that we can also pay the stuff necessary to grow the business. So if anyone gets this, it's your boy personally. So what do we do here? We overhaul the system. Communism, right? Not so fast. Obviously, anyone that knows anything about economics knows that communism is a total failure. Gotcha, though, if you thought that that was going to be the case. Okay, but on a serious note, where do we begin? Because obviously what we have been doing just simply isn't working. We might be paying off some debt and then we get more debt. And then we pay off some debt and we get some more debt. A majority of Americans, actually close to 3/4, couldn't even cover a $1,000 emergency with cash. They'd have to put it on credit, or even worse, have to go get a loan shark to bail them out. So, what do we do? So I can't stress enough, we do the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. So I'm going to keep this literally as simple as I can possibly keep it. If you all have any questions or anything along the way, do not hesitate to drop a comment with a timestamp on it down below, and I will definitely answer your question to the best of my ability. With that, let's dive right into this plan. So obviously, you still get paid first and foremost, right? So all that money, most of you have a W-2. Those of you that are business owners, you're still paying yourself. So, you're getting paid, right? And that's going into your main checking account for most of us. So traditionally, this is where everything would happen, right? Your mortgage or rent, your utilities, your student loans, if you have student loans, any and every type of bill, groceries, doctor bills, whatever the case may be, everything would be going in and funneling right back out of this account. Now, stay with me here. My system, pretty similar. We still have our one deposit account. I refer to it as deposit number one checking account here. So we still have this one account that everything goes into, all the money goes in. From here, we're going to split it into, at a minimum, 3 additional accounts. Now, of course, you can get as creative and, have all these different, you can have one for every single budget category if you wish. I wouldn't go that far. I have done that in the past. It becomes more hassle than anything. Don't get me wrong. There are automations out there that can make all this easier as well, but the more simple you keep it, the more likely you are to maintain it and actually stick with it, right? Think about diets and exercise plans and everything else out there. The more complicated it is, how likely do you stick with it more than a few days or a month or even a few months? So this is where I want everyone to start. Obviously, you have your main checking account still that all the money goes into, and I want you guys to go right now and create 3 separate checking accounts, not savings accounts. We want checking accounts. And then the accounts, of course, are going to go exactly as it follows. You're going to have your basic mortgage or rent account. Every time you need to make your mortgage or rent payment, this is the account that you're going to be paying it from. Same thing with all of your other monthly bills. Now, you might be wondering, well, what falls into monthly bills? Exactly like it sounds. Anything that comes out every single month. I don't care if it's something as small as Netflix, Spotify, Audible, your utility bills, your medical, if you have a medical payment plan or something, you have set up your credit card bills, anything that is a monthly bill that it's going to be coming out every single month, is going to go into this account. Lastly, in account number 3, of course, you're going to have your grocery and just overall general spending, miscellaneous spending, whatever you refer to it as account. This is obviously going to be the account that you use on your primary debit card for things like your groceries, birthday presents, Christmas presents, just the general, clothing, whatever that is not a bill or your mortgage or rent is going into this account. So then, as we said, by the time all said and done, we're going to have 4 total accounts. And like I said, that's just to get started. Can't stress enough. Don't try to go crazy with this. Start little, just like with everything else. You will learn very quickly within a few weeks to a month of, okay, this is actually more of a category of its own. We tend to spend a lot of money in this category. Like for us, it's groceries. So we created like a whole separate grocery account. But don't go overboard with this. Again, like we said, we're trying to build a habit. We're trying to change how we manage our money. So give it a full month, kind of figure it out. If you have a spouse, go to the table after a month as well, and bounce ideas off of each other and figure out, should we add another an account or 2 or however many. But for now, just start with the 4 main accounts: your main deposit checking account, and then your other 3 for paying, the 4 walls. So now that we've gone over the framework, let's move on to, just a real life example. And before we go into that example, I'm even going to say this is based off of my own personal budget. I kind of rounded all the numbers just to make everything easier. But of course, if you can get this down to the exact penny, even better. So here are what we're going to assume. We're going to assume our $2,000 a month mortgage rent payment. We're going to assume about $2,500 for groceries, miscellaneous spending. Again, just kind of our everything account, so to speak. And then, of course, we're going to factor in about $2,000 for just our average monthly bills, which comes out to right at $6,500 per month. Now, of course, I am a business owner, so I'm not going to get into what I classify as like a variable income. If you're a business owner or you're in sales, your salary is kind of literally week to week, month to month in most cases. We're going to go mostly off of my wife's income and then what I would consider like my absolute minimum that I would ever pay myself, just combined. If you guys, because I know I have a lot of business owners in here, specifically home service business owners that follow the channel, if you guys would like me to do a follow-up video to this to show like how I like to do it with my variable income, I can definitely do that for you. But again, we're just trying to keep it as simple as possible to where everyone understands the point. So with that being said, here goes our real life example. Real life example, $3,000 deposit comes in. This could be, your spouse's income. This could be your income, whatever the case may be. $3,000 gets deposited into your checking account. From here, it's pretty straightforward. All we got to do is delegate it. Now, again, this is kind of making it very, very simple. We're making the numbers rounded off. We're splitting everything evenly. But again, how much money, if you're going to have a bigger paycheck, a smaller paycheck, whatever the case may be. But at a minimum, what I can't stress enough here is that you notice that we're covering half of our mortgage rent payment with that first paycheck. Why? Because of course, most households, you're getting paid twice a month. Of course, some of you guys might be on like different pay weeks, so it may be like 4 payments, whatever the case may be. Either way, me personally, with our very first check that goes into our account, I always like to cover about half of our mortgage rent payment. That way, everything else, it just feels a lot easier, right? Same thing with the monthly bills. I like covering roughly half of our monthly bills. I like getting as much bills out of the way that first week or 2 of the month as humanly possible. That way, because again, my income varies depending on, how the business does. If we have a good month, then of course, since most of the bills are already covered, or at least over half of them, that gives us what I like to call wiggle room, play money room, whatever the case may be, to do what we're going to talk about here in just a minute. And then, of course, like we said, once you delegate it all out, you want to obviously zero out that budget. So we have another $1,000 going towards like groceries, miscellaneous spending. So now we're going to move on to the next pay period. So say again, my wife gets paid, say that I get paid, and the second check for my wife is usually a little bit bigger as well because she also has commissions and things like that. But again, I'm doing it kind of based on our like minimum income, which is usually around $7,000 to $8,000 a month. So I did it based on $7,000 a month here. So we're going to go ahead and split this again. So what do we do with that second pay period? We go ahead and once again wipe out our mortgage rent payment. We usually pay our payment, which we're still renting at the moment. We're actually going to be buying a house probably very early spring. We're thinking, February to April, roughly right in that range. But right now we're renting, so we usually have our rent completely wiped out by like the second, third week at the latest usually. And then again, same thing with monthly bills. We go ahead and wipe out any remaining bills, and then from there we usually have a little bit more in terms of be it grocery shopping, pay for in regards to the household. We're going to go ahead and delegate it to that account one more time. But did you guys catch something with my math? I'll go back here for just a second. Just take a quick second here. Do you notice anything? What about the extra $500? If you didn't catch it, we'll go back one more time. We did 1,000, 1,000, 1,500. That's $3,500, right? So we had another $500 left over. So what do we do with it? And this is the beauty of not just budgeting, but this delegation system. That's entirely up to you. Just like we said at the beginning of the video, this is all entirely up to you. But with that being said, I will give you guys some options based on just priority. These are just, again, based on my experience and where I'm at in my life. It may be different for you, but the first couple I believe are absolutely paramount to your financial success, which of course the first one is going to be save for your emergency fund. Now, early on, if you have a ton of debt, your emergency fund doesn't really need to be large. If you follow like Dave Ramsey advice, things like that, he'll say $1,000. I think $1,000, at the minimum is a good starting point, which again, if you're just drowning in debt, you have high interest debt, 20-30%, which by the way, the average credit card interest was like 24-25% last I looked. So if you're just drowning in debt, then absolutely just start with $1,000 and move on to step two, which is obviously going to be paying off that debt. And if you're a business owner like myself, this does not include business debt. Some financial guru, so to speak, out there will tell you to pay off everything. I do not. I separate again business and personal, two separate balance sheets. But you do you in that regard. But now let's say, what do we do if we only save about $1,000 or $2,000? Me personally, I like to have at least a month of emergency fund in there, just because if something is crazy enough where I have over a month of expenses that we have to cover, with just savings, there's some stuff going wrong in life. But either way, again, you do you. 1,000 to 5,000 I think is a good sweet spot early on, and then go ahead and pay off that debt. What are we doing after we pay off the debt though? We're going to go back and fill up that emergency fund with at least 3 to 6 months of expenses. So again, when we do this, you can do it however you want. Me personally, I like to calculate as if my life hadn't changed. So that means like I'm not doing just rent, food, etc. Some people say your emergency fund should be, exactly what it is there for, right? Which is, oh, just to cover the bare minimums like your groceries, your insurance, your rent, your utilities, your car, like just the bare minimum. If I use my emergency fund, I don't want to have to start disconnecting a bunch of stuff. Oh, I didn't factor in internet. I didn't factor in, YouTube TV, whatever the case may be. I want to figure out, okay, what is our cost of living on average? And then I'm going to multiply that times 3 or times 6 or whatever the case may be. But again, that's just me. If you're just starting out, it's still not a bad idea to at least at the bare minimum say, okay, well, I'm just going to factor in, the 4 walls, so to speak. That might be $3,000 versus $6,000 or $7,000, just random numbers here. But once I get to that, and then I finish everything else that we're going to talk about here in a second, then I can go back and add on to that emergency fund even more. Like I said, there's so many ways you can do this. Me personally, from my own experience, I saved up just $1,000, went ahead, wiped out a bunch of debt, and then went back in there, did the math based on, okay, what do I need to survive semi-comfortably, not totally comfortably, but semi-comfortably for about 3 to 6 months. And then there's the number. Once we get past this level, we're going to go ahead and start saving up for a down payment. Now, obviously, if you are already owning your home, congratulations to you. You can move on from this step. Or, if you're for some reason looking at possibly upgrading home or downgrading, or if you're downgrading, you probably don't need to save a down payment. But if you are needing to do so, then obviously go ahead and save up for your down payment. From here, what we're going to do is do investing or even buying back our time, which is obviously investing in and of itself. Now, investing, I'm going to do a whole nother follow-up video on like my favorite things to invest in, from like, $1 all the way up to, you're getting thousands of dollars that you're able to invest every single month. But first and foremost, in my opinion, what you should invest in if you are making under $100,000 per year is your own skill set. With a caveat here, I'm not saying go out and buy all these BS internet courses and join in all these masterminds and this and this and that, but there are lots of avenues that you can utilize to grow your income earning potential. So invest in learning some skills, because as I've said for many, many years now, I know Alex Hormozi gets the credit because he's super famous, all that. I'll let him have the credit, but investing in the SME 500 will always have a much higher return than the S&P 500. So there's nothing better that you can invest in than your own skill set and adding toolbox into your mind that you can use to generate more income that you can then invest into other assets. Once you're to a point that you're satisfied, with your income and you're chugging along investing, I would say start investing and doing things that buy back your time. These are going to be things that, again, aren't necessities or anything like that. But if you can afford to do things like not have to do your grocery shopping, you have like a Kroger Plus membership for $10 a month. Like me, I don't live anywhere at this moment, which is why we're moving soon. I don't live within 15 to 20 minutes of a grocery store even. So I can pay $10 a month for a Kroger membership and they will deliver my groceries to me. That saves me hours a month. Like we're talking many hours, at least 6 hours or more per month, not to mention the time spent in the grocery store, not to mention impulse buying, because if you go in hungry or anything like that, your boy's walking out with some Sour Patch Kids. So again, like, what is your time worth? The last phase of what we do with our money is, of course, enjoyment, giving back to the community or your church, whatever the case may be. This is what I would consider kind of like the wealth pyramid almost, it's almost kind of upside down how I built it out here. But, our first couple, we're just setting our financial foundation. And then once we get to the down payment on the home, we're now, building equity in a home. I always tell people a home's not an investment, but it is kind of a savings account to a degree. So we're also adding to our net worth with our home purchase. Then we really start getting wealthy by investing into other assets, investing in our skills, investing into buying back our time. And then if you want to call it the quote unquote end, I don't call it the end by any means. I call it just getting started. But now you're able to enjoy the fruits of your labor and give back, be it to those that believe in you or to the community where you actually show somebody that you believe in them as well and that they matter. And I could go on and on and on with this one. Like, you can get so creative with this. But that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys, took some very valuable information from this. I tried to even make it in, as you saw, like a presentation format, which I don't do very often on this channel. Feel free to go back, take some screenshots, take some notes, whatever the case may be. And like I said, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, like, this channel is a total safe space in terms of financial education. There's no dumb questions at all. The only way that you can help me out in terms of answering your question is YouTube has an option where you can timestamp, where your question was in the video. And if you do that, I'll even go back and rewatch it myself. That way I have some more context and that I can answer your question to the best of my ability. But hopefully more than anything, you guys took some valuable information from this. As always, if you did, do me a favor and smash the thumbs up button and share it with somebody. Everybody's always asking, how can we help the channel out? How can we help you out as much as you help us? Simply sharing the content with people. Share it on your own YouTube feed if you have a YouTube channel. Share it on social media. Share it with even just people send it to them via text and be like, hey, I feel like this would help you out big time. Because that's the only way we're going to get better as a society ultimately, is to get better at a personal level, at a community level, at a regional level, and then at a nationwide level. And if you're new to me and still tuning in, shout out to you, by the way, but wondering just who the heck is this guy? Do I want to even see any more of his content? My name is Griffin Thomas. I own the company you see right here on my shirt, Preferred Pest Management, in the Dallas, Texas area. We've been in business over 5 years now, and overall on this channel, I just document my entire business journey, finance journey, just all of that stuff. I have over 1,000 videos on this channel from the last 10 years, from when I first started doing things right out of high school, like flipping things on Amazon FBA and eBay before it was popular, to flipping stocks and stock options, futures, all that different stuff. So if any of that interests you at all, I'll make sure to leave a video. I think I pointed the wrong way last time, so maybe I need to point this way. I'll leave a couple of videos. One will actually be, I believe, a playlist, and the other one will be a video specifically that YouTube believes you would highly be into up here in this right-hand corner. So go ahead and click on that one, and I will see you guys over there.